At AIDS, it's your boy Soul Immortal. I was thumbing through the gram a second ago, man, and I came across a video of a brother that I follow, a brother named Gentleman Ron. And he made a quick video about black women being less submissive than their counterparts, right? And, I thought this was interesting because I just did a live on this, several days ago now, right? And there was some good discussion during that live. In addition to that, I always see videos talking about, foreign women are better. I always see videos about, go to Brazil and find or go to this country and find, the perfect woman. And I thought, that it would be interesting to have this discussion. So my question to you brothers today, are sisters less submissive than their counterparts?
Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on what level you on based on, whether you're human or whether you're immortal.
What's good? Let's get straight to it. So most black men that I do meet, I ask them, why do they date outside their race? And most black men tell me, well, other races of women, or I guess other cultures of women, are more submissive than black women. And me, I don't really agree. I just ask questions and I get feedback, right? So in my opinion, I think the reason why black women may not be as submissive as other cultures to black men is because...
So let me just say this. And I said this exact same thing on a live a few days ago, right? Like I've always dated women that were soft and nurturing and just these type women. But it wasn't until my mid to late 30s when I first had my, I first had an interracial situationship, right? And I did say this a few weeks ago. I said, that was the first time in my life that, up to that point, that I had experienced a woman with so much femininity, right? And to just elaborate on what I mean, like I up to that point, I never experienced a woman that catered so much, a woman that was so attentive, right? A woman that was so, so nurturing, that was so on my team, that was so attached to my program. Like I had never experienced that up to that point. But what happened was, I just raised the bar where anyone after that had to meet that level. So it had nothing to do with, a certain race being more submissive. But I can say that a different race other than my own was the one that was my initial experience with this high level of submission, high level of femininity.
In the black community or minority community, it's almost the norm for the woman to raise the child by herself. And I know this may strike some nerves, but this is the truth. Many times you will see in the black community, black mother will be raising the kids by herself, and the man that's a black man normally goes off and does his own thing. Every now and then he may come around, or he may not come around at all. So if a young black girl's growing up just with her mom and seeing her mom be so independent, have to do everything on her own, it just comes natural for them to really not be submissive to a black man because they didn't grow up in a house with a father figure. So they seeing their mom take on all these different roles, provider, protector, all these things. It's like they don't really know how to even submit.
Now, Ron made a very interesting point, right? He said in a lot of situations, you have single mothers raising daughters. You have single mothers raising sons. That's going to change the dynamic of everything, right? That's going to change everything. Because think about this. And I've said it again. I've said this many, many times before. How can you expect a person to be raised in a certain environment? In other words, you have daughters growing up seeing their moms being single mothers, being boss chicks. Some of them are, have this, I don't need a man type mentality. Some of them have this, You can do it all by yourself. Woman power, stay single. Rule the world type energy. But then this daughter will grow up and get into a relationship. How can she be submissive to a man if she's never really seen that? You know what I'm saying? At the same token, you have to associate some of that with trauma. It all starts with trauma. You know what I mean? Like how can you expect, think about this. Even in today's common relationship, there's toxicity. There's so much imbalance. So even in today's relationships where a man and woman are present, there's still no submission. There's still a lack of masculinity. So it's like everything is out of whack, and you have to put a lot of that on just where our culture is right now. I'm not saying that other cultures are better or more advanced, but when you look at our culture, we have issues that address why it seems like a lot of sisters aren't as submissive. So he made a huge point, because you can't expect for someone to demonstrate something they've never seen initially. You can't expect the person to do that. So I would say that a lot of it is, our culture, the fact that, single parenthood is rampant in our culture, the fact that there is so much trauma, and I hate to take the easy token out, but a lot of that trauma goes back to slavery. That's such an easy token out, but there's a lot of truth to that, man. So yeah, I agree with what the brother is saying right there.
Now, these black guys that date outside their race, they say the same thing. It's easier to deal with other races of women. It's more peaceful. It's not as much drama. And I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. But I mean, I feel like personally that could be why, black women don't submit to black men. Now, I have seen black women submit to other races of men, and I've met black women who have said other races of men treat them better than black men.
Now, I've heard brothers say, things like it's easier to talk to non-black women, or it's less challenging. I can't say it's easier or more difficult. I've never had an issue, with that. But what I will say is this. As a man evolves, and as a man puts himself in position, and once a man ties into his purpose and that whole thing, once he elevates to that level, I can say this easily. The amount of black women that will fit in his life, that number will decrease. And the thing is not based on the man's desires. You have less black women that choose to get into the life of a man where there's going to be submission required. I'm gonna say it again. When a man elevates himself to a certain energy, to a certain frequency, where a woman that comes into his life is going to have to be in this submissive energy, a lot of black women will voluntarily check themselves out, which open the doors up for women of other races to come in. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand, when it comes to a woman submitting, it's less about it's less about the woman as you think. It's less about the woman as most guys think. When it comes to a woman submitting, it's primarily on how the man moves. I've said it before. I've seen women, man, that walk in complete masculinity, and when they get with the right guy, brother, they're purring like kittens. A lot of it has to do with the man. So I think that it goes across the board. Do I think sisters are less submissive than their counterparts? No. But like I said a second ago, there are less sisters that want to live in that frequency. And it goes back to women being toxic. A lot of women, when they see a man move like that, and I'm talking about sisters, it doesn't line up with their truth. If a man is not telling them that, or if a man is not in position where he's dependent on a woman, That's not normal to a lot of sisters. A lot of sisters repel to those type guys. When a man talks about a woman coming in and filling a certain role, a domestic role or doing certain feminine things, it doesn't line up with a lot of sisters' truth. So a lot of black women just, voluntarily vote themselves off the island. But as a whole, are sisters less submissive than other races? Hell no, definitely not.
Now, I have seen black women submit to other races of men, and I've met black women who have said other races of men treat them better than black men. And I'm not going to lie, most other cultures, they're just raised differently. Most times they are raised in a household with both parents. They're more strict. They learn about finances. They learn how to invest. They learn how to save.
Now, I've seen exactly what he's talking about. I've seen sisters, date outside of their race and become this, submissive woman. At the same time, I have to say that I've seen black men do the same thing. I've seen black men date outside of their race, and all of a sudden they become a man that a woman can now submit to. And I think a lot of that is just delusion, right? I think that, when people, put a certain race over their own, thinking that the entire race is better, I think that's delusion, right? At the end of the day, it's all gonna come back down to us as men. I'm telling you, a woman's ability to submit to a man is primarily based on how that man moves. Two good friends of mine that I always talk about. You've seen Victoria on the show, her and her husband Derek. I can remember when they were living in Texas. They both had solid careers. She had her own high profile clientele. And once they got married, man, they changed up, man. She fell into this full submission role, this full domestic. I'm cooking, I'm taking care of the bills in the household. So again, it happens. A lot of men that are saying women, black women can't submit, it comes back down to the man. Even the brothers that are having these type conversations with their woman, that's not even a conversation that you have to have with your woman. If you're having a conversation about why don't you submit, or this is the type woman I like, brother, you're already behind the 8 ball. So yeah, man, I'm glad the brother posted this video, because it's a real thing. So brothers, tell me what you think. Sisters, tell me what you think. Are sisters less submissive than their counterparts?
Yes, but honestly, I do have faith in the black community. I know we will get better. We will. It's going to happen.